Hi, my name is Darren Joseph from HEJ.tax. We're the team that seeks to demystify that sometimes confusing world of international tax. And today we have the honor and privilege of having a conversation with the world expert on information sharing agreements, Mark. Mark, would you please introduce yourself to those who don't already know you?
Yeah, so I have been specializing in automatic exchange of information and exchange on demand for 20 years, and I've consulted with the EU Commission and the OECD, and I focus exclusively on automatic exchange of information. I don't do anything else.
Okay, that's great. Okay, Mark, so let's talk a bit about the expanded affiliate group. Could you talk us through it?
Yeah. To me, I think this is the least understood part of FATCA. I've read so much, and I've had lawyers charge me thousands on expanded affiliated groups, and they were wrong. And I've been arguing with them for a year. They're not sure they were wrong, but I now know they are wrong. FATCA has a rule called expanded affiliated group when one entity owns more than 50% of another, or that they are common parents, so they could be siblings owned by a common parent. So FATCA uses the concept of expanded affiliated group, EAG, to avoid registration by some members of the group through a bad apple approach. A bad apple spoils the whole barrel. If one member of that expanded affiliated group is not participating, let's say in our case, the parent custodian institution doesn't register, so it's non-participating for FATCA, okay? Then they say, then the entire group must be non-participating. So the underlying investment entity, even if it registers, it can't register for a GIN because it's part of an expanded affiliated group. And when you've got expanded affiliated group, the lead group member must first register and then the others. But if there's one in the group that doesn't register, then you are all non-participating, and then you are all subject to the 30% withholding. So normally in my case, I had the custodian institution owning an investment entity, but the custodian institution doesn't register because it's in a non-participating jurisdiction. Then the investment entity would also be non-participating, and any payment made to the underlying investment entity would suffer the 30%. Okay. But there's a weakness that very few lawyers pick this up. Normally, an expanded affiliated group, which came from the U.S. tax laws rather than FATCA. They just adopted it. There you had 80% withholding, 80% holding needed. But in FATCA, it's 50%. But this is important. If one of the entities in the group, like the trust that I use, is not a corporation, then that entity, like the trust, must actually elect to be part of the expanded affiliated group. And of course, that's according to Treasury Regulation 1.1471-5I10. Okay, and it's there. It's easy to look up. It's on the IRS website. So it's quite easy to avoid this penalty by saying the trust doesn't elect to be part of the EAG. And then the entire EAG effort to penalize him doesn't work.
Okay, that is interesting. And just to be clear, the whole idea of an EAG does not exist. It has no equivalent in CRS. It's purely FATCA.
Not even close.
Okay. So out of interest, what is the mistake that many lawyers make?
They said any entity that owns 50% of another entity is an EAG, but if you really study it, it only applies to corporations. Now, so in theory, partnerships, foundation, anything that owns anything else can be an expanded affiliated group, and hence subject to the 30% withholding if one of them doesn't register. But it's definitely clear that if you're not a corporation, you must elect to be part of that EAG. And that's the first box that you tick on the FATCA's, are you part of an EAG? And you'll just not tick that. Okay.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for that. Mark, thank you very much for sharing your time, your expertise. If someone wanted to reach out to you directly to find out more, what's the best way to find you and contact you?
You can just find my website, which is co-ownershiptrust.com. That's with a dash.
Mhm.
Or a Google search of my name and trust, and you should find me very quickly. And then WhatsApp me.